ఈ మధ్యకాలంలో స్కైరూట్ అని మీరు బాగా వినుంటారు. సో స్కైరూట్ ఫౌండరు, విజనరీ కలాం లాంటి వాళ్ళ ఇన్స్పిరేషన్తోని, ప్రొఫెసర్ సతీష్ ధావన్ లాంటి వాళ్ళని, డాక్టర్ సోమనాథ్ గారు లాంటి వాళ్ళ స్పిరిట్తోని మీ అందరికీ మనందరికీ ఇండియన్ స్పేస్ దీన్ని మనం ఫస్ట్ నెంబర్ 1గా ఉండటానికి నేను అంటూ కృషి చేస్తా అని మన పవన్ కుమార్ చందన, CEO ఫౌండర్ స్కైరూట్ వారిని వెల్కమ్ చేస్తున్నాను. నవ్ ఐ రిక్వెస్ట్ పవన్ కుమార్ చందన, ప్లీజ్ కమ్ ఆన్ టు ద డయాస్.
Hello everybody. You can hear me at the end? Okay, so I don't have any presentation, so basically I'll speak about my journey and also I'll end it lessons from this journey, which probably will be very useful for you all. So I'll just start with my school days. When I was very young, I used to have spectacles from my 3rd standard onwards. I used to go to school with very large spectacles. I think we all call it soda buddi kind of, right? So I used to have these soda buddis since my 3rd standard. I used to be a little kid going to school with very big spectacles. And whoever comes to my house, relatives and people who come to my house, they used to think this guy is a genius, if you have like big spectacles, they study a lot, and it's what we think generally. So most people used to think I'm a genius, I'm a class topper, or he's a genius kid, or a prodigy or something like that. But if you see my report card, I used to get like I'm one of the last in the school. I still remember a time when I had like, some 50 marks or in mathematics, which is, which I in fact quite proud that I'm very good at mathematics. But that time I used to get just 50 marks in mathematics. I used to fail in 1 or 2 subjects. So that was how my journey in school started. While people used to think I'm a genius, but actually it's like opposite, which is the scenario. And then what happened is during my 9th standard, so 8th, 9th standard, I changed my school. And somehow it's a very fresh environment. The teachers saw some spark in this boy and started encouraging me. And I became from bottom of the list to top of the list. And became one of the toppers in school, just within probably in a period of few months. All this happened because of the great encouragement of great teachers. And in fact, Dr. Kalam, throughout his lifetime, he has told how important a teacher is in the life of a student. I think it's quite an honor to be on a stage and speak on a stage inspired by Dr. Kalam, who is also my personal big inspiration. So that's how it started. Then that's a U-turn in probably my entire life, getting from bottom to top and, appreciate the subject. More important than topper is basically I was able to appreciate the subjects, appreciate science, appreciate mathematics, etc., and became very good at it. And went so deep, basically what I used to spend a lot of time just reading, not reading the textbooks as it is, but reading between the lines, what we call reading little bit more depth, understanding why this is, why should we even write equations, why should we even, what is kinematics, what is dynamics, what is different, this used to go slightly deeper into the fundamentals of things, and that really helped in, getting good marks as well. And then I studied, got into IIT. Just imagine, nobody would have imagined with the marks I got in school, I would get into an IIT. But, I went and studied to get into an IIT, and then luckily got into IIT Kharagpur. And I wanted to join mechanical engineering because I loved machines. I like moving parts and machines, and, I wanted to build something really big in machines and very fascinating. So joined mechanical engineering. And again, same story again started. There also I was like performing very bad, because generally what happens is that in our families, it is said that IIT, if you go to IIT, your life is set. That's all. So I went to IIT, I thought life is set, I stopped studying. And then in the first few years of my IIT, I was like, very bad student there itself. I used to just play cricket, just watch movies, etc. As a very bad student per se. Then another teacher there, a professor there at IIT Kharagpur thought there's a lot of talent in this guy and started encouraging me. And then again, the same U-turn happened in my college life also, and then became like one of the good students there. And there again, I really focused on the fundamentals, really try to understand what is thermodynamics, what is this, what is that, why we should learn, what is an IC engine, what is a rocket engine, all that, went deep into the fundamentals, understood the basic fundamentals, and then placements came, this campus placement started. And then ISRO came to the campus. In fact, I always, as a mechanical engineer, I thought like, rockets are the most fascinating machines. It defies gravity, goes from Earth to space, etc., etc. So I was really fascinated looking at news of PSLV launches from the newspaper, looking at cryogenic engine developments, etc., etc. All that news in the newspapers and TVs really inspired me. I thought like, if ISRO is coming, I'm definitely not going to take up any other job. At that time, whoever gives most salaries, people, at least in IITs, they should go to either software jobs or finance jobs, or maybe go abroad for their masters or PhD, etc., etc. But I decided that I need to stick to the course, and I wanted to go deeper into mechanical engineering, and I want a real big challenge in life. So, and I felt that rockets are the most toughest. So what do we say when something is too difficult? What do we generally say? We say it's rocket science, right? So I thought, that's how we thought, like, it's something very, rocket science is something so difficult, something so fascinating which humans has built. That's the most complicated machines ever built. That's true in its true essence. So I thought I'll get into rockets, and then got into ISRO as a scientist. In fact, it's very peculiar that, ISRO came to the campus, and I was in the 7-pointer range in the college, and, several toppers were sitting for the interviews, and then several ISRO scientists came for the interviews, and then they were interviewing, and I was like, they selected 4 people, and all others were 9-pointers, and I was the only 7-pointers who got selected, because they really liked the fundamentals of the subject which we taught, and that's how helped me get into ISRO as a scientist, and joined ISRO in 2012. And then I was fascinated to be part of the space program. In fact, the first day I went into ISRO, I really was amazed by the kind of facilities, the huge facilities, the rocket structures, the kind of work, the kind of national spirit and all the scientists there. So I was very inspired by it, and been very part of the space program. I was part of the program called GSLV Mark III, which is the largest rocket ever built in the country, which is going to soon launch our astronauts to space from Indian soil, which will be a great achievement in the coming years. So I was part of that program, very inspired by it. And then, it's like from 2012 to 2018, I was very immersed in the space program. And then I decided that, this is where I should be. And I decided that I'll continue my journey until retirement at ISRO. So that's the kind of motivation, that's the kind of inspiration I had while working for the space program. And then in 2018, so in fact, I've been following the international sector, quite well. And then, Elon Musk, is one of the great inspiration kind of, he's the one human who defied gravity. And then what people thought could not be done in the private sector, he did it. And there are several other good, important companies, coming up globally. That made me think, as a rocket scientist, I thought, is it even feasible to do such a thing from India? At that moment, knowing the complexity of it, I thought, it's of course rocket science. I've seen it and I've done it, and I know how complex it is. So I thought for a moment, I thought it's very difficult, but that thought was always left in the mind. And in fact, this goes back to the college days, while in our college, everybody wanted to be an entrepreneur. Everybody wanted to start a company. So that startup bug also bit me in my college days. So I thought, in fact, there are some moments I thought I'll not sit even in placement, I'll just start a company. But I didn't have the guts to, start a company right in college. So I thought, I'll go with my passion. I'll go with my other passion, which is rockets, and then got and became an ISRO scientist. So always that during my time at ISRO, in around, after 6 years, I've been observing what is happening globally, and got this thought, and then thought, why not we start a rocket company? And then, because there's always wanted to be an entrepreneur, that entrepreneurial bug is there, and that rocket science bug is there. So I thought, why not build a rocket company? And then I felt it's quite difficult. And then no policy, number one. At that point in 2018, there was no policy. So that means you can build whatever you want, but you cannot launch a rocket to space being in the private sector. And there is no big talent also available in the country, because most of the rocket scientists are in the government. Whether they are at ISRO or DRDO. So there is in the private sector, there is hardly very limited talent available in the sector. And also there is no funding. To build rockets, you need to, have hundreds of crores. Where will we get the hundreds of crores? And if you see startups, only like, Flipkarts and, the other companies like Mintras and all, they were getting all the money, e-commerce companies were getting money, but there was no precedence that a aerospace company ever raised like large funds. So no fundraising scenario, no policy, doubt on whether talent is there or not. And the tech is so complex, whether a private company can build or not. All these were doubts at that point of time, but still, I felt it's, I think we should, it's very important for India to have a private space company, and a very important one which can go global. And I sense the opportunity because, in fact, India is among the top 5 nations in the world in the space sector, but our share in the global market is just 2%. And in rocket launch, it is only 1%. So when India is one of the top few countries, we are like hand in hand with the US or China or Russia in the technology, but we're still like, we are still commercially, we're only 2%, 1%. So I thought that's a great phenomenal opportunity. And of course, policy is not there, but I knew that if it's a chicken and egg problem, without companies, why will policy come? And so there's no need for waiting for policy. You took the leap of faith and quit a very comfortable, interesting job and started Skyroot in 2018 along with my friend Bharat, who was also a scientist at ISRO. And we both joined together at ISRO in 2012. And then we started Skyroot in 2018 with just 2 people, me and Bharat, with all these question marks. In fact, literally for us to succeed, all the stars needs to align. So that was the scenario in which we started Skyroot. And then we got like good interest, they've seen these 2 kids quitting their jobs and starting, a rocket company. So we got good investments to start with. And then, we over 4 to 5 years, we raised like 526 crores, which is highest ever in the aerospace startup industry in the entire country. And from 2 people, today we have grown to 230 people. And we have, did many firsts in the country. We have developed India's first privately built cryogenic rocket engine and successfully test-fired it. We have built India's first solid fuel rocket engine, successfully test-fired it. Liquid fuel rocket engine, successfully test-fired it. And we are using advanced technologies like 3D printing. In fact, our entire rocket structure is built with carbon fiber. One of the first few in the world. We're pushing the boundaries of technology, and we're building a deep, cutting-edge rocket technology from India, from the private sector, first time in the country. And in 2018, and last year, in 2022, November 18, 2022, we created history by launching the first privately developed rocket to space. And in fact, after the launch, our Honorable Prime Minister in his Mann Ki Baat, he told, this launch proves that sky is no limit for youth in the country. And so that's how it became a symbol for what a startup can do, what a young people can do by starting a business, how youngsters can come together and build a great business and, build complex technology within country and, become one of the world's top few in the world. And in fact, this particular launch, made India in the private launch sector, one of the top 2-3 countries in the world. I think that that is something which we are all very proud of. And of course, we named the mission as Prarambh. That means that it's just the beginning. It just starts for us a very, very long journey, and it's a great start for us. And I personally believe, I think India's space has a great future. And in fact, I'm personally very excited with the future which space flight can bring to humans. In fact, for example, every year, almost thousands of crores are saved by our Indian fishermen because satellites guide them to the right fish. Satellites tell them, where the right fish is there. Thousands and thousands of crores are saved in fuel, in time, in business for the fisherman, livelihoods for the fisherman. And in fact, only 10% of the Earth's surface has mobile network. If you go with your mobile, only to 10% of the Earth's surface has mobile network. 90% is covered with space communication. And in the next 5-10 years, 50% of the world population will get high-speed internet only because of space technology. Directly from space, you'll get, very high-speed internet to space. And probably in the future, every student, in the world, every engineering student passes out by launching a satellite, within their engineering itself. So that's the kind of future the space can generate. And that's why we put our mission as a company as opening space for all. Not for few countries, not for few people. Space should be open for all, and that will really transform, human life. And that needs in fact, like one of the slides I see, India now today, India's population has crossed China's population, and so I think that is the biggest fuel which India has. It is the great population which is interested in engineering. We have like, I think, a love story with engineering going on in our families at our homes. Everybody says, my kid wants to, he want to make him an engineer, or, either an engineer or a doctor, right? So that's what happens in India. So we create a lot of engineering talent in the country. But, I think the next few years, a lot of skills will be generated, a lot of companies will emerge, a lot of new unique skills will be generated, and I think this will become a force for the space industry. And today India is the most cost-effective space nation, spacefaring nation in the world. In fact, we sent a rover, we sent a mission to the moon at the cost less than the cost of the movie Gravity. I think so that's the kind of efficiency which India has in the world. I think it's a great future for all of us. The space industry is a great future for all of us. And Skyroot, we want to build a very big global company, and we're all based in Hyderabad. And we launched 100% made in India, made in India designed and developed rocket to space last year. And this year we're going to launch multiple satellites to orbit, and then we're going to ramp up our launches and become one of the top few global companies in the world in this sector. Very difficult sector, very unique sector, and that's where like a lot of talent need comes from. So I think this is in a nutshell the journey from being a very bad student to launching the first privately developed rocket to space in India. And from a journey of a company, we started with just 2 people with a lot of question marks, and all the stars aligned today. Everything has come together, and then we were able to again meet our first big milestone of launching the first privately developed rocket to space. And there is still just the beginning. We believe that every day is today is the first day of our lives. So that's how we work, and we believe that it's a great journey it's a praram. It's just a new beginning for all of us. Both for India and the space sector, and also for Skyroot as a company. And so that's where we start. And so I would probably conclude with 3 learnings from this journey, I think, which would be quite useful for all of you. The first big learning would be any day can be a U-turn for you all. So if you think that okay, I'm not so good, or I'm not good enough, or this is bad, that is bad, everything. So no day is late. Today could be the U-turn for you, and and then you can just completely rewrite your entire what you have done before in very short period of time. So it is totally possible. And so number 2, big learning, I would say, is that entrepreneurship is the best career option. In fact, most of you might be thinking, I would get a job, and I will go into a job, and then I will retire. I think, but still, I think the best career option is entrepreneurship. Whatever you want satisfaction, you want money, you want to create change in the nation, you want to create whatever it is. I think entrepreneurship is the best. I think India needs more and more entrepreneurs, because almost 65% of India is less than 35 years old. If you want to generate employment to such big youth in the country, you need more and more small, big, medium-sized companies coming up, and you can be the change and starting new companies in the future. And nowadays, I think it's changed. When I was there, I took 6 years of experience and started companies. Nowadays, people are starting just straight out of college. Just third year of college, second year of college. People are quitting colleges and starting companies. I think world has changed today. In Indian and atmosphere is changed today. Today, more and more parents are encouraging startups as well. Before startups, people used to parents used to hit their children, saying that don't go, just go do your job and then get a salary. But now I think parents are also understanding and encouraging people to get into startups, and I think that is I think quite very, very important. So I think first, any day can be a U-turn in your journey. And second is that I think entrepreneurship is a very, very good career opportunity. And in fact, you can also start with working in a company. Of course, you can work 10 years, 20 years. Nowadays, in fact, like we have KFC is started by a person with 50 years old. Nika is started by someone, a lady who is more than 50 years old. So any day is a good day for starting a company. Any day is good day to have a U-turn in your life. Any day is good day to start a company in your life, and that will transform the country as we know it. And third is like I think space is very important. And so I just want to ask a question. Do you know how much time does a rocket take to go from Earth to orbit? Any guess? 4 years. Okay, 4 years. Still, how much time does a rocket take from here to go to orbit? 2 to 3 days, So I'll tell you how much time does a rocket take to go from here to Earth's orbit. It just takes 10 minutes. I took 1.5 hours to come from my home to here, and a rocket takes to go to space just 10 minutes. So space is so close, and but still it's least explored. Do you know that most of the metals, the gold, platinum, iron, even, for example, to build the batteries, EVs, what do you have? Lithium. All of them come from space. As meteor strikes, asteroids, for several years they hit the Earth, and we basically pick them up in mining and then use it. So basically everything has come from space, and space has like infinite resources. Just the near Earth asteroids, very close to Earth, the asteroids close to Earth have trillions and trillions of tons of water. So you need water for life, you need minerals for life. Space is just 10 minutes away, but still we think that Earth is everything. We are a earth-bound mindset. In fact, there was one image of the elephant and a chain. So that chain is, we think it's Earth. The Earth is the chain, but in fact, space has everything. The Earth can sustain probably a few more billions of people, but space can sustain trillions and trillions of people. Solar system can sustain trillions and trillions of people, and that's the kind of future is going to come. But there's only one problem to solve. And what is that problem to solve? To access resources to space, to live in space, to, in fact, go for a holiday in space. How many people went to a holiday in space till now? How many people want to go to a holiday in space? Everybody, right? So in our lifetimes, I think now everything is over. We have seen like foreign countries, we have seen, deserts, mountains, everything. I think next big thing in tourism is space. And everybody wants to, how many people want to launch a satellite before you graduate? Yeah, so to do all of these things, what is the thing we need to do? How much does a rocket cost to go from Earth to space? 30 crores, 40 crores. Bigger rockets take 500 crores, 1,000 crores. How many people can pay, 10 crores to go to space? So that's the biggest problem, because rockets are very, very costly. So that's the reason why, the chain is still there. The chain is still there, that we still think that Earth is everything, but you have to break the chain. How to break the chain? You build rockets cheaper, and in fact, if you have a very cheap rocket, you can go from India to US in just 20 minutes. You need not take to a flight which goes 24 hours. It just takes anywhere, any point on Earth to other point, any other point on Earth within, just within an hour you can go using a rocket. It just takes 10 minutes to go to space. You can live in a habitat in space, which is probably more beautiful than what it is on Earth. And, probably some few people in this generation might even go to Mars and live in Mars and start a new Mars civilization. So I think very, very exciting days ahead in the future, but only one problem to solve, that is low cost rockets, low cost access to space. That's what Skyroot is built for. We want to build rockets so cheap that, probably all of you can go to a holiday to space in the future. Everybody of you can launch a, satellite before even you graduate. Fourth year, probably, when you go to an interview, you said, I launched this satellite, with this technology, probably that, and the interviewer will decide, who built a better satellite. So that is the kind of future I think is going to come. You can go to live in moon, few people will be living in moon, few people will be living in Mars, and it has like plenty of resources. In fact, Mars, if you the water in Mars, if you make it as liquid, it will be like almost 10 meters tall. The entire surface will be covered with 10 meters tall of water. So that much amount of water is available. You have a lot of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere which can be converted to oxygen. I think space is just welcoming, and only one chain needs to be broken, and that chain is low cost rockets, and that's what we set to do as a company. And how can we build that low cost rockets? Anybody? 3D printing? Yeah, so I think she got it right. So it's by reusability. Today's rockets, you launch something, you throw it in the sea. So that rocket costs some, let's say even the smallest rockets cost some 20-30 crores, and each launch 30 crores, you're falling in the ocean, right? So that's where the cost to go to space is so costly today, and none of us are able to do. Only satellites which do business are able to do it. But of course, that transforms our life. GPS comes from satellites. Everything comes from satellite. Satellites have today transformed our life. But still, we are only scratching the surface. 0.0001% of what space can do to our lives. But still, it affects our life every day. Today I came here through GPS. We get TV. 50% of the households in India are connected by satellite TV, direct to home TV. 90% of the Earth's surface is connected by satellite internet. So today, I think without space, we cannot live. If space stops, aircrafts cannot fly. They don't have GPS. So space has already affected our lives, fishermen, everybody, in our country and the world has affected. And in future, 10 years, 20 years down the line, space tourism, living in space, working from space. In fact, there are lot of factories, lot of materials which are very good to produce in microgravity. Whether a lot of proteins, very good to build in microgravity. You'll have factories in space producing in microgravity. So that's a great future, and that requires huge young workforce with talent. And in fact, one more very important thing which lesson from my journey is that fundamentals are very important. In fact, today when we get a resume, we don't see which college they're from. In fact, I don't see which college the person is from. I don't see what is their grade. I only just check in their interview how are their fundamentals, how is their thinking, how is their vision. That's all. Today it doesn't matter which college you come from, whether you even have a degree, it doesn't matter. So that's where your time should go. And the biggest lessons, in fact, the fourth the lesson I kept for the last is that fundamentals should be very good. Even today, while building a business, still fundamentals is what business fundamentals. Do you think that, Dhruva Ambani has done MBA from Harvard? He had very good fundamentals in business. That's the only thing which sets him apart. So no matter what, I think your fundamentals is where you have to work on. Even if you study, doesn't matter. If you study less, study more, doesn't matter. Whatever you study with very, very, very good fundamentals. Grasp why things are, get a big picture, get a full understanding of what you're doing from very basic fundamentals. Some people call it first principles thinking, some people call it very good fundamentals. I think all of you should focus mostly on fundamentals, and everything will become quite easy, right? So people love, I'm telling you, even today companies love people with good fundamentals. We don't want skill, we don't want experience also. If a very, very good fundamental person comes, we just take them, and then within just few months, they become equivalent to a person with bad fundamentals with 20 years experience. This is basically today worlds are changing. Every year the technology changes. The mind is what is important. The fundamentals is what is important, and less than anything else. I think you all will be the force of the future. And you'll all probably be, some of you will become rocket scientists and help in creating this great future where space is open for all and transforms our life. And so I would end by saying sky is no limit for all of you. Thank you.
He worked at the Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, for a few years, where he gained valuable experience. Work aerospace is to make